Hi and welcome, legends. I was away for the weekend and then I get back and I see this nice little dump from the price of Bitcoin and a bloodbath for some of the altcoins here to the downside. Today, let's analyze the price of Bitcoin, some important levels that we need to watch for potential setups, and also some exciting news around the world. Also remember that I use Bybit and Mexi to do most of my trading with a fee reduction for Bybit and no KYC for Mexi, and also a nice little bonus when you sign up using the links down in the description. Go sign up right now and trade with me. Let's jump into some quick fundamental news, what is happening around the world. First up, breaking news, Hong Kong approves spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF application. So still some bullish sentiment out in the market regardless of this little nice dump that we had to the downside. Next up, Crypto Rover writes, war is horrible, but markets always bottom once it does happen. Why? Because they will print lots of money to support their war. Right, so was this potentially the local low for now and we're going to go and claim higher prices from here? Only time will tell. Next up, Bitcoin. Some massive buy walls were placed below price about 1.5 hours ago. Then the news dropped and price is starting to sell into the 100 million plus of longs has already been flushed out again. And what this basically means that longs has been flushed out, resetting the funding rate for potential more momentum to the upside, or are we going to range for a little bit longer? Next up, breaking, AI updated the daily target for Bitcoin is now $108,000 out of the perfect bull flag. The fractal is about to repeat. And here you can see perhaps we are building a bull flag over here, and when you measure the pole from the low to the high, that potentially takes us here to that $110,000 mark. Next up, Bitcoin dominance weekly successfully closes above the prior week high and highest close of the year. And here you can see on the Bitcoin dominance chart, we have now smashed through the highs over here and we have a weekly close above the highs, which could send Bitcoin dominance surging into the air. And the next level I'm looking there around about the 60% mark. Or are we going to have a fake out here to the upside for continuation to the downside? But from a trading perspective, this is looking quite bullish, where you have a solid closing candle above the highs and perhaps a retest of the trend for continuation to the upside, which could really bleed out some of the altcoins a little bit more. Next up, altcoins market cap perfectly following the previous all-time high season path, bouncing off the support band as it did in 2020 before it exploded upwards. So this is now a contradiction of the previous article that I've just read to say that, well, perhaps this was the retest that we needed over here for a parabolic altcoin season here to the upside. Exactly what happened during 2020, where you tap the moving average for an explosive move to the upside. Will this time be different? Was this the low that we needed, flushing out everyone from their long positions into the altcoins, and now we're going to have that rampage to the upside? Next up, altcoins. While some are panicking, others see perfect backtest of the breakout from the year-long accumulation zone. So someone else also pointing this out, just showing it a little bit different. No folks, that's not bearish. This is extremely bullish. I'll tweet this again and I told you so. Right, so just zooming into this price action over here, you can see that we had the accumulation zone here at the bottom, exactly the same that happened during 2020 and also here during 2016, where we broke out, we retested, and we had a move here to the upside, exactly the same price action. And now we have retested this neckline here that could potentially be the bottom for the altcoins, where we could see that parabolic move here to the upside. Up next, Deepin assets have been outperforming in the midst of a volatile market. Let's take a look at which Deepin assets are seeing the most social activity. And here they've listed it: Render, Tau, EGLD, Multiverse, Internet Computer, Filecoin, Track, Airtor Protocol, DNX, AR, one of my favorite filing coins, and also RLC. And perhaps the picture that's been painted over here is that these altcoins in this list will still do phenomenal things during the next bull cycle. Right, let's go analyze the price of Bitcoin here quick. Right, looking at Bitcoin here on the 4-hour chart, you can see that we have lost the symmetrical triangle for a potential fake out here, and now we have acceptance back inside the level. Okay, and for some traders, this will look like a liquidity grab. You're grabbing the liquidity below the lows over here for continuation back inside the range for potential breakout, or we can continue range inside here for a little longer before we see the true breakout to the upside. Right, the other thing that I want to discuss today is that just quickly on the high time frame, I also spoke about this Friday during my update, we are still inside this ranging area over here. And ignoring the symmetrical triangle, the one thing that I am looking at is when I take a fixed range profile, I just want to look at this structure over here from where it started to where we are right now. And you can see here clearly that we have a value area low, we have a point of control, and we have a value area high. And from a range trading perspective, usually what happens is as simple as you have a deviation outside of the range, and as soon as you get acceptance back, you short the market and you take profits when we get to the value area low. Then again, we had another deviation outside of the range, you get acceptance back above, you long, and you take profits by the top. Right, and then so you just continue the range until there's no more range. You short the top, you take profits at the bottom. You long the bottom, you take profits at the top. And here we also had a deviation above, failing to break through in this area over here, really struggling to break through. And then again, we hit the bottom. Is this as simple as a deviation below? And now we're going to continue our way up. Regardless of how price action plays out here, we could see ourselves hitting the top once again for the long people, playing the range here to the up and the downside, taking profits and then shorting depending on how price action reacts over here. Right. So from a range trading perspective, that is basically what I'm watching over here. Okay, cool. So now we are approaching the point of control, and the point of control could be a rejection area where we either reject here from the point of control, SFP, okay, for momentum here to the downside, and perhaps I want to see if we're going to make that higher low over here for continuation here to the upside, pierce this level and come and claim the top of the range again. Right. There is also another scenario that I'm currently watching in this price action over here. Let's zoom in onto the 15-minute to show you what I'm looking at. Right, here on the 15-minute chart, there's two scenarios that I'm currently watching, is to say that, well, this is potentially, from an Elliott wave perspective, a wave 1, 2, 3, and we are busy with the fourth wave, expecting another fifth wave to the downside, grabbing the liquidity below and an acceptance back above the high for continuation back to the upside. So there is still a possibility that we come down, we grab the liquidity again before we see the move back to the upside. The invalidation for me for this scenario playing out is when I take a fib here, so let's say this is 1, 2, 3, and we are waiting for the fourth wave to complete over here. I take a fib from the highs over here to the low that we've made, and generally in most instances when we start tapping like we've done exactly now already, when we tap the 0.618, which we have now just tapped to perfection, it decreases the probabilities of us coming to take this low again. So the following scenarios I am then watching is to say that perhaps we get a rejection in this area. I will be watching this lows from a SFP perspective, and we also have a naked point of control inside of this area. So perhaps we SFP from this area, we make a higher low or continuation back to the upside. So two trading setups that I'm watching here is to say that this is potentially a short here to the downside, and then I want to see how we are going to react at this trend again. Do we bounce for continuation up, or do we come back down to come and claim the liquidity below these lows? And it's not a guarantee. The probability of us coming to claim this low because we tapped the 618 is lower. I would have liked for a more confirmed tapping the low to the bottom, is that I wanted to see us reject here by the 50% fib level as a maximum target. Then the probabilities increase that you are, if we had to move down here, that we are going to come and claim this low once again, getting acceptance back above, and then continue the momentum back to the upside. But because we tapped the 0.618 here, I want to see how we react in this level, because obviously we can continue moving up here. Right, that is basically the summarized update from myself today. I will do a live stream later where we can chat and go through some comments. Also, if you haven't seen my latest update from Sunday, the moon phases that I always talk about, go check out this video right now. And until the next one, cheers for now.